page as you on that one, Sarah.
Yep, I'm with you, Paul. And David Hunter said, first time I've seen Lee play. They look like a lower division side playing a first grade team. Plenty of effort, but not enough skill. The baby wire were just too good and strolled through them a few times. Problem for Lee is that over here a team like them can build up and become competitive, but with relegation that is unlikely to happen. I just can't see them winning enough games. But is relegation actually going to happen over here this year?
Well, I don't want to see them go again next year.
Fair point, yeah.
Yeah. So after we've fact checked ourselves and the listeners, we are all on board that Warrington did play quite a few youngsters in this game, but they were still way too good for Lee. So Danny Walker, it's not the first time this year that he's started a game and really impressed. I think that's really good news for Warrington, that they've got a player who can do very much similar stuff to Darryl Clark. Not quite as good, never going to be as consistent right now in his career, but still, that's a real bright spark for them. And positives for them in all the other guys who got goes out of this. To me, I think you've got to be pleased from a Warrington perspective. It sounds like they all are really happy, which is different to how they normally are.
Yeah, makes a change, doesn't it?
Yeah. This is like mid-teens optimism out of Warrington. This was back before they started losing grand finals and so realised it wasn't their year. We're back to it is their year in their heads, which is it's pleasing to see. It's definitely the opposite of how I feel, so it's nice that someone gets to feel that way, Sarah.
You won't be so pleased on Wednesday when they're feeling that way.
Best try of this game, I would say, was probably Gareth Widdop's, helped a little bit by the slippery surface that he slid over from a distance, but brilliant play in the build-up from Danny Walker and Ellis Longstaff, so it was good that some of the younger players got to play a part in that. Great try, and not much else to say about this game from my perspective. What about you?
I didn't see much of it. After seeing us play Lee last week, the thought of seeing anybody else play Lee really didn't appeal.
No, I suppose, if anything, the big story coming out of this game in some ways is the inappropriate post-match comments by Steve Price, which we're yet to kind of see what sort of punishment he would get. If the RFL are consistent, he'll be banned for 8 games, won't he?
Yeah.
Or 10 games or whatever. It kind of falls into the same category as that Fev guy whose name Ben Blackmore, doesn't it? And that is saying it as kind of a joke, but it's not a joke. I don't think he understood in the moment what he was saying, to be completely honest. And clearly he's come out and apologised, and Warrington have said it'll be investigated and dealt with. But yeah, not ideal.
No, not the sort of thing we want, really, saying in a post-match interview on Sky. Well,
exactly. And when Warrington are kind of been so great in award-winning community foundation work, especially through what they've done with their disability rugby league sides, I don't know where this lies in that. Like, that's maybe why Warrington need to be taking the sort of stand other clubs have recently with other similar kind of issues. But it's difficult when it's your head coach.
Yeah.
Rather than just a squad player or something.
Yes. Shall we move on?
Yeah, let's move on from that game to your game, Sarah.
Yes, so it finished Hull FC 17, Huddersfield 10, after being Huddersfield 10-0 up at half-time. It was officiated by Liam Moore. Unfortunately, we have incomplete team stats, because it would have been quite an interesting one to see how it balanced out. Individually, the Manu Mao ran for 158 metres, Liggy Sow for 157 metres, Miteli Vulikijapani for 144 metres. Jordan Johnston made 49 tackles. For the losing Huddersfield team, Louis Senior ran for 200 metres. Joe Greenwood made 47 tackles, of which 10 were marker tackles. Ashton Goulding ran for 135 metres and Josh Jones for 112 metres.
Yeah, I think it was young debutant Aidan Burrell, actually, who we didn't get the stats for. So I don't know how much of a difference his appearance would have made to the stats.
He made one tackle and one drive.
There you go then. It wouldn't have made much of a difference at all. So if I knew the context, maybe we could have pulled something together.
I think he came on for 3 minutes.
Fair enough. Well, at least he gets to talk about being part of a victorious side in his debut game.
McNamara came for 10 minutes and Burrell for 2.5, 3 minutes.
Yeah, and Marcus Walker wasn't used, so...
No, so we basically played the game with 14 players.
Which is one more than Huddersfield were able to name when they gave the squad in the week. So,
true, yeah.
So it shows how affected this game was. We'll start with one that I think has got its tongue firmly in its cheek from Mark W. He says, can't be too mad with that. A decent effort from a patched up side who spent most of the game with just 4 of their 1 to 17 squad available. Felt like we were a bit unlucky with some of the tries against us, most notably the game-changing moment when Fanua ran past a man with a ruptured Achilles to score decisive points. A move straight from the Theo Farge playbook and one that Hull fans famously have no problem with. I'm not laughing, obviously, at Donald McIntosh is doing his Achilles, but I think Mark's hit my line of humour there with that one.
Always in Our Shadow said Liam Moore did his best to ruin an awful first half between 2 strange-looking teams until he finally binned one of the persistent headhunters. As the second half progressed, Sneyd took more control, creating 3 tries and finally landing that elusive drop goal.
Yeah, he can kick them again.
Yes. I'll read the next one because I can actually, put it into English, hopefully.
It's not too bad.
I thought it was awful yesterday when I read it. I told him it was terrible.
Go on.
Despite Watson's whinging, Giants were able to field a stronger looking team than FC, even if both sides had the look of a pre-season friendly. Moore joined the pre-season field by trialling his own set of rules. A disjointed first half saw Giants tend to the good before a card appeared as Russell struck with the team's third back-to-back high shot, luckily only yellow. Sneyd then was instrumental in all of Hull FC's 17 unanswered points.
Yep, so thanks Joshua's granddad for that. So you were there on Friday night. You saw Huddersfield take that half-time lead and Hull FC make that second half comeback.
Yeah, unfortunately, every single point was at the other end to us.
One of them nights.
Yeah, so although I'm not going to announce it, to many people, we are in the North Stand for the next match. So hopefully, we'll see some more points.
Is that because you think switch it round, or that could be funny if then it all reverts to the other way, could it?
When I went on to book tickets today, there weren't the options in the South Stand were either in the corner or right down at pitch level. So I thought we'd go and sit in the North Stand, as in some ways it's exactly the same view. Yes,
yeah. It reminds me of that Summer Bash weekend where it felt like the whole of the Saturday, all the points were scored down the other end of the pitch to the one I was at. So I feel where you're coming from there, Sarah. What happened in terms of the game, though?
Yeah, so I think Liam Moore did seem to want to be the star of the first half. Certainly, he just seemed to keep blowing his whistle, and I think irritating both teams as well. There was, Huddersfield took their tries well. I can't really remember a lot about them. We got to the ground to find out that Danny Houghton and Jordan Lane had to be late switch out, which I presume cost us a couple of substitutions.
No, because the players were in the squad. So if they were named in the 21-man squad that you're allowed to name, then it doesn't cost you any substitutions.
Yeah, that's right. Danny Houghton for personal reasons and Jordan Lane for a medical issue, which we did start to worry was COVID when we heard that he'd been seen storming out the stadium. But thankfully it looks like it wasn't.
Just classic old gonorrhea.
Something like that, yeah. It was, as I've mentioned, it was good to have Jack Lurgan back. He played well. But, Mark W. complains about how many players they had. But actually, we only had half a dozen or so from our first 17 as well. So, Fanua much better than recent. Connor Wynn seemed to be, I don't know whether this is going to be a trademark of his, but one of those players that seems to keep getting injured. But then, like, 1 minute it looks like they can hardly walk, and then the next minute they're sprinting 50 yards.
Oh, he's going to be a Premiership footballer?
No, but like not in a like get a penalty way, just like
or
he's
a Premier
there.
League footballer for the pedants.
Yeah, just like they're sort of not even seemingly that it's been in a tackle, but it looks like he's cramped up or something, and he's sort of hobbling around, and then gets the ball, and that's it, he's away.
Yeah, and he did score. He did score, didn't he? Did he score? Yeah, he did score a good try in this one. I think that's 2 in 2 weeks for him, isn't it?
3 in 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
He got 2 at Lee. I really cannot comment on the injury because, as I said, that was totally at the other end of the field. I just saw Jack Lurgan leap very high. It was nice to have Sneed drop the goal when he did. Although I think my highlight has to be Manu Mao driving the play in, and who was it? It was Matty English flying out the line to really hit him. And Mao sort of bounced off English and then moved into another player, whilst English was sort of spinning around in a circle, having no idea which way he was facing, who he was, or anything else. Wait.
Yeah, you had some of your big guys, didn't you? And that emphasizes that there. I think it's weird, isn't it? Because your team, kind of a bit like Warrington and Wakefield. I know Wakefield didn't even have the first choice halves, did they? Because Miller got injured. But you had your first choice halves, which probably makes a big difference when you've got some young guys in the side.
Yeah.
You've got experienced heads there, Reynolds and Sneyd, to kind of tell them where to be, sort of thing. So you'd think that might help. In the Albert Goldthorpe medals points in the League Express, Ratu Tui got 3 points there. So was he impressive in his first start?
He wouldn't have been in my top 3. He made a decent run, but I think Ratu, the first, would have been away and scored it. So I don't think he's got the same speed. He made a decent hit on a player. But yeah, I thought Manu Mao was excellent. I thought he really made some good yards, made some good defence. Brad Fash has got rid of the mullet, so was a little bit deceptive as to who he was. He's gone skinhead.
Yeah, but that's a relief for all of our eyes, isn't it?
Well, it is, but the problem is you've got a pre-match where you've got loads of players you don't know, and you're like, and who's that there? Oh, no, that's Brad Fash. Yeah, so he played well, and obviously Liggy Sow as well. But,
yeah, and it sounds like Sneyd had a good second half as well, controlling things.
Yeah, Sneyd and Reynolds did link up quite well. Reynolds, after me a couple of weeks ago, saying he's not really doing a lot. I'm not that impressed. He has now started to do a bit more.
Fair enough. Anything else before we move on to the Battle of the AJ Bell?
No.